On the 25th of May, the people of Ireland will vote on whether to repeal or retain the 8th Amendment of the Constitution. In its current state, the article regards the life of the unborn as equal to the mother. If the yes vote passes, the Oireachtas will be able to pass laws regulating the termination of pregnancy. This referendum marks another step in Ireland's shift from a conservative Catholic country to a more secular nation. To hear both sides of the abortion debate, we spoke to Linda Kavanagh, a co-founder of the Abortion Rights Campaign, and Richard Theodore Berkeley, member of the Love Both campaign. You scrolled back to when the campaign started, sort of after Yes Equality, then the focus shifted. How do you think the message was framed to the public, the repeal message?
Well, that's really interesting. I suppose for us, it started before marriage equality. A big cementing of the movement was the death of Savita Halappanavar. We have gone out and asked for not a little bit of change. We want quite a significant shift.
It's always interesting to look at any campaign and how they run themselves. There are obviously pros and cons to every campaign. I've been working a lot on campuses, so I've kind of seen a lot of the repeal campaign up close. And certainly there are good things that I've seen, but also there are very bad things that have benefited us a lot, like the Katie Asco impeachment earlier in the year. That really benefited us a lot. A lot of people were awakened by that whole scandal. We got so many people signing up in the UCD Life Society and just generally in the Love Both project wanting to get involved because of how she was treated.
I'll be honest, I don't pay a huge amount of attention to the other side. I think that they're being really clever. Like, I have to hand it to them. They've been really clever in framing what they want, which is the retention of the 8th Amendment, in a way that's really, they posit it as something very loving and protective and safe, when in fact it's completely the opposite. They've really very cleverly kind of grabbed onto celebration and this positivity, but like, we know what the 8th Amendment can do. We know that women have died. We know that women are injured. We know that it's led to lack of consent in childcare, and that you should be. What should happen is they should have to defend that position, and that's not really what's happening. We have to defend our position, which is change, care and compassion.
The Together for Yes group recently launched a pop-up shop in Dublin's Temple Bar to sell referendum merchandise. I paid them a little visit to find out more. So overall, your time working here has been a positive experience?
Really positive, yeah. It's actually really nice because so much of our campaign has relied on social media and interacting with people in a very abstract way. So I think canvassing has been really affirming for a lot of people, and the shop just having a physical place where people can come in has been really wonderful.
In the lead up to the referendum, the media's role has proven vital, both in print and broadcast. To discuss this, I spoke to journalism lecturers Harry Brown, Roisin Boyd, a former producer for RTE, and communications expert Brian Sheehan.
My feeling about how mainstream media are doing is that I think that it has been a somewhat insensitive form of coverage. There's been a lot of it. It's been reasonably balanced, so I think that in that sense they're doing well in the sense of being fair to both sides of a debate. But the particular means by which they've taken up the debate, the highly personalized versions of it, that every program, it seems, has a slot almost every day where they get some story of someone who's been through it, who is either for or against it. I think that to a certain extent it's been an invasion of privacy, and it's used the representation of individual stories as a way of trying to connect to a political or a policy debate in ways that I think we may end up regretting, and I think that have probably been upsetting for a lot of people.
I actually think the media, has done a pretty good job. I think there's lots of diverse voices. Certainly, I can't keep up with there's so much stuff on social media. There's a lot of stuff on radio. I mentioned that interview earlier, Philip Boucher-Hayes doing a number of different interviews. Of course, I haven't listened to all of it. I think the Claire Byrne programme was problematic because there was an audience. And this is very much something that we see a lot now in television, because they're trying to keep up the audience figures and, people watching and the audience participation. And I think for a topic like this, it was really out of order to have people hooping and hollering and, clapping for certain points. I think that really for me, certainly if I was producing that programme, I'd be very uncomfortable with that, and I think that has to be looked at.
I have a real difficulty with this because I don't know what balance is. Balance is perceived as time. Despite the Broadcasting Authority coming out and saying balance is actually on the context of the issue, not just time, but they resort to time. I've seen a number of Prime Time and Claire Byrne and other things where I thought there was huge questions to be asked of the presenters on how they addressed issues. I saw a Prime Time where it was Claire Daly and Niamh Byrne, I think, from the No Side. And I thought it was a deeply unsatisfying interview, and I think I would have serious problems with the questioner or the interviewer, because actually there was the tactic on one side seemed to be butt in all the time. So it was just very badly managed. They had the feel of student debates rather than, no disrespect to student debates, rather than actually a mature debate and reflection. Now that's very much a tactic which was used in the marriage referendum and other referendums by the no side, the status quo side, to confuse and confound and never let you make clear answers and never answer clear questions.
With the referendum looming, the last question is, how will the Irish public vote on the 25th of May?
I think there's a real challenge. I think the no side will gain more in the next couple of days. That's inevitable. The change side lead always drops. I trust Irish people in much the same way as I totally trust women to make the right decisions. I trust Irish people to bring forward that decency that's at the core of Irish people, and I think the referendum will be carried. I think there's an awful lot to play for in the next couple of days. I think turnout is absolutely crucial.
I think the vote is going to be close. I think we're probably going to see a reasonably high turnout. The 1983 amendment had a turnout of only about 50%. A lot of people were just uncomfortable with being asked the question. I've seen remarkably little sense of that discomfort going around from door to door. People understand that this needs to be worked out, talked about, and voted on. There's no one saying, why have they made us do this? Which has sometimes been the case with referenda in the past.
I really just don't know. Initially I thought, it's going to be yes, because that seems to be, the feeling. But then when I heard some stuff on the radio yesterday where the reporter was following a canvass in, I think it was the rural area of Clare, and all the people there were no voters. So I just don't know, outside Dublin, or even in Dublin, I just don't know, what way it's going to go.
The experts are telling me that it will be a yes victory of a few points at least. My sort of native pessimism tells me it's going to be closer than that, and I think it could go either way.